Hey, welcome everyone to Marriage Business Mondays. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm going to give it a few minutes and let a few people come in. Again, thank you guys so much for joining. This is my first Marriage Business Monday, solo by myself, but I'm excited about it. So, before we get started, I hope you guys have a little bit of wine, bring some cocktails. Let's just have some cocktail conversations tonight. Speaking of cocktails, I am drinking Wondry Wine, which is a black-owned company, and they are out of Texas. And if you go to my YouTube and subscribe to my newsletter, you will get a 10% off discount so that you can try Wondry Wine. Their wines are amazing. They have a wonderful chocolate martini if you like Kahlua's or Bailey's or anything like that. They have a wonderful chocolate martini. And they have another one like a strawberry and cream. It's like a creamy flavor. You can have it on ice. It is delish, I know. So definitely try it. Again, it's Wondry Wine, black owned out of Texas. They're amazing. And they are a wonderful married couple, speaking of marriages. So thank you guys for navigating to a little bit. I know that we had a wonderful episode scheduled for tonight, July 15th, and we had to pivot a bit, as many of you know why. But the Scotts will be on next week on July 22nd. So make sure you guys join us for Marriage Business Monday on July 22nd so that you can hang out with myself and Letitia and Martez. That's a fun one. You guys are going to enjoy it. So make sure you guys check back on July 22nd for that episode. All right. All right, let's get right into it. We only have about 20 minutes or so I'm not going to keep you guys long. You may see me drinking on my wine a little bit tonight. Feel free to comment, ask questions in the chat, dialogue with me. But let's get right on into it. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things tonight. One of the things, and it started really out of a conversation I had with a girlfriend, kind of impromptu, let's get together for a brunch, girl. I'm just having all kind of stuff I want to talk to you about. And what's funny is because I wrote a marriage business book, people think I am a marriage counselor, which I am not. I am not a licensed marriage counselor. But I give marriage advice, I guess, based on experiential learning, because I've been in this marriage game for 24 years, August 12th, which stay focused for August 12th. That is a Monday. And so it is my anniversary. So stay posted for some news on that. But anyways, August 12th, I will be married 24 years, and which is really where the book came from. It came from this experiential learning. Really wanted to have, a plan, a strategy in place. I'm a strategist, so wanted to have a plan in place. It's funny because, we have a license to drive. We have a license to practice medicine, a license to practice law. We have a license. We have to get all this certification to be an accountant, all of these things, degrees to do everything in life, certifications, except for the two hardest things, which I think is being a parent and being married. We don't have to get anything to do one of those things. And they're the hardest things I think we will do. So back to the brunch, my girlfriend and I were having brunch, and she's been married over 10 years. And we just kind of talked about this marriage thing and why is it so hard? And I will say, people say that, that there's this thing called the 7-year itch. And I would push to say, really, it's more like the 10-year itch. Like if you can get past the first 10 years of your marriage, I think that's really the toughest times in your marriage is the first 10 years, not the first 7 years. So keep pushing. If you're in the 5, 6, 7-year stretch, know that you probably got about 3 more years before it gets a little bit easier. But it does get better. Just get to that 10-year milestone. All right. So she asked me, which is where the question came from. In my conversation with her was, how do you know if your marriage is worth the fight? And I thought this would be a great question to go live on and talk to and hear from you guys, get some thoughts from you guys. So I told her 3 things. I want to hear your thoughts and see if you guys agree. So it's 1, I think your marriage is worth the fight if the first thing is if you have 2 partners that are very willing to put in the work. So fighting in a marriage is just like fighting in a boxing ring. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of resilience. It takes energy, stamina, all those things to get through a fight in a boxing ring. Fighting for your marriage is very much the same. It's going to take a lot of work. So you're going to have to be willing to put in the work to resolve issues, not to band-aid issues, but to find real resolution for issues. And so it takes a lot of work, and you have to have somebody who's willing to go the long haul. Now, I will say that you may not be equally yoked in that we're ready to go through the fight together. And so what you may find is that one spouse is pulling the other spouse along in the very beginning of the fight, to get the other spouse on board. It may be that, the wife has to bring the husband along so that he sees buy-in. It may be that, the wife doesn't believe the husband is committed, and so the husband has to drag the wife along a little bit, show her how very committed and willing he is to put in the work for several months or so, until the wife is convinced that, okay, my spouse is ready to put in the work. So one, you have to have the willingness to do the work. Okay. Willingness. Two, I think you need to know who that person is at the core, like at the foundation of this person. Are they still who I marry? Are they still who I want to be with? And that may mean many of different things. I give a few examples. One could be, at the core, are they still, a Christian? That might be important for you and your marriage. At the core, are they still honest? Do they still have integrity? It may be that, the spouse, one of the spouses has fallen off, has gone through a rough patch, is not feeling motivated in their career. So, kind of in the dumps about that. But at the core, are they someone who has a strong work ethic and believe in, supporting financially the family? And they're just in a rough patch. So like at the core, do they still have the foundation of what is important for you in your relationship? So one is the willingness. Two is the core, the foundation. Is it still there? Do you still see that? And then three would be, and I think is probably as important as one or two, and maybe even more so important, is, do you have a strong support system? And what do I mean by support system? For some who I kind of talked about, or if you're in the church, is it, do you have that support system, whether it's pastoral care, whether it's a counselor or a coach? It could be a good friend group, a couples group that can wrap their hands around you guys, because there are going to be peaks and valleys, and you need a strong support system to help you guys through those peaks and valleys. I forgot to turn off my do not disturb, so I'm sorry about the noise in the background, guys. That's what happens when you go live. You have all kind of things like that happen. So, but those are the three things. Again, the willingness. Two, the core, the foundation is there, right? And three, the support system. So yes, your marriage is worth the fight, but I would say you have to have all three of those items to stay in the fight and to overcome. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is a few other things, but the other thing I really want to talk about is I said that in the teaser for this that I would talk about some topics from 1 and 2. And one of the things that I did want to mention as I sip on my wine is kind of one of the activities, because throughout the book there's working sessions. So each chapter is kind of a core competency. Here's kind of the principle of the book, the principle of the chapter. This is what we're going to talk about. It may be communication. It may be values, whatever that chapter is about. You will have exercises in each of the chapters that kind of help support your communication strategy in the communication chapter, your vision and your values in alignment in the value chapter. You're going to have exercises that you have to work through as a couple to help you, because when you finish the book, you will have a strategic plan for your marriage. So it's very, it's more like a workbook than an actual theory book. It's you get the theory, but then you actually practice the theory, and so that you apply kind of some of the thoughts from the book. So it's really very much your business strategy once you walk away from it for your marriage. But one of the things in the book And the very first chapter is kind of this idea of this visioning exercise. It's called Canvas Marriage. And I think it's important just kind of mention to you guys tonight, because I think for me, it drives every other thing that we discuss in the book is that very first chapter when you do your Canvas marriage. And basically, you're taking a blank canvas, and I say to you in the book, as a male, think about your daughter. Maybe you have a daughter, maybe you don't. You know, one day you may have a daughter. So it may be just that you're thinking about this daughter that you will have one day if God blesses you with a daughter. And you think about what you want for your daughter as a man, and you kind of sketch that out. You know, what kind of values do you want this man to have who's going to be your daughter's husband? What do you want him to, how does he not really look, but how does he show up in the community, in the household, in the family, for their children? All of these things. So you're sketching out kind of this blanket canvas. You're creating this masterpiece of a husband for only your daughter, who would only be wonderful enough to marry your daughter, to have her hand in marriage. And for the woman, for the spouse, the wife, she also has to do the same thing, but in mind, thinking of her son, maybe, her son one day that she would have, or her son today, she would think about the wife that she would have for her son, how perfect this woman would be, how she would show up, if she's a stay-at-home mom, if she works, if she loves the Lord, whatever the things about her, the wonderful makeup about her, that she would be great enough that you would say, yes, I would like this woman to be the wife of my son and the mother of my grandchildren. And so you create this canvas picture, and you create this beautiful masterpiece. And the wonderful thing about this masterpiece, and starting it in chapter 1, is that in every other chapter, you think about the person, if you're the wife, what does this wife look like for my son? What is she, what are her characteristics? And you have to actually become that person, because the truth of the matter is that our children, they become what they see. They don't become what we tell them to be. They become what they see, right? So we put a model in place for them, and that's what they enact. So if you want to have a child who has healthy communication, you must practice healthy communication in your family. If you want a child who has good integrity and work ethic, you must practice good work ethic and good integrity in your house, right? Our kids don't even listen to what we say half the time. They only see what we do and emulate it. And they go in there. I mean, you even see little girls practicing being a mommy, practicing raising their children, burping the child. I have a funny story. Actually, I have a friend, and they were laughing because their daughter, little baby, has her little baby, and she was nursing the baby, the little baby doll. Because she sees her mom, that's her mom nursing her. And she said, girl, my child was nursing the baby doll. And we just cracked up. We're laughing about that. But when I say that our children emulate us, they don't listen to what we say. They do exactly what we do. Okay. So we can tell them all day long to do the right thing. But if we're not doing the right thing, they are not doing the right thing. Okay. So Canvas exercise is so very, very important. Make sure you guys, please add to that. If you guys have a story about it, if you have any questions about that, or you want to just add to that, please do. The other thing I want to make sure I talk about, because I think there was 2 things that I promised that we would talk about tonight. And your marriage worth the fight was one of them. And then the other one was, is it ever too late to start over? So we're going to talk about that one. I'm going to pause a minute just to make sure that I did not miss any questions or comments, because I want you guys to feel free to add to the conversation. But y'all, can y'all believe the baby was nursing a baby doll? Lord Jesus have mercy. Anyway, okay. And make sure you guys, I don't know about y'all, but a glass of wine, a cocktail at night is very nice. It's it's always fun to have cocktails and conversations with your girlfriend. So please make sure that you guys are, you guys go and support Wondery Wine, okay? And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and my newsletter so that you guys can get the discount code and take advantage of the discount, so you can try their amazing, I'm drinking tonight, their sangria. Okay. All right. So I am going to, in the interest of time, I want to keep us on time. We've got about 5 or so more minutes. So I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Does not look like I missed any questions. Okay. All right. So the other thing I just want to make sure that I talk about tonight is it ever too late to start over? That question again came up. I told you guys that I had brunch with a girlfriend who is experiencing some challenges in her marriage, as we all do. If you tell me you're not experiencing challenges in your marriage, I'm gonna show you somebody who is, not telling the whole entire truth, because every relationship experiences some obstacles or some adversity. And so I want you to know that's normal. It strengthens the marriage to go through some adversity and obstacles, and overcome them. It gives you, the two things that I have in my marriage that have helped me get through my marriage. The two things are God and a testimony. Okay. That's what the obstacle gives you. God and a testimony. That's the only two things that, I will come out and say, I definitely have those two things, and those have made me stronger and have gotten me to the 24-year mark. I will celebrate on August the 12th. I'm so excited, you guys. I see somebody who was on whose anniversary is also August 12th. So shout out to Tammy and Tim, because they also celebrate their anniversary on August 12th. So, all right. So is it ever too late to start over? I'm ending with this one because this one is a deep one, because so many marriages experience obstacles, and so many of you guys are experiencing hardships right now, challenges right now, and you're wanting to know, like, is there any hope? Is there any hope to fight, Benika? Did you ever get to the point where you felt like, there's nothing left to fight for? There's nothing left to hold on to. And I will say to you guys, starting over is really not possible, quite frankly. Starting again is possible. Okay. So there is hope. If you are experiencing a rough patch in your marriage, a tough time in your marriage, you're not seeing eye to eye, you're going through that 7 to 10 year itch. Heck, some of us could be in that 15 to 20 year itch. Quite frankly, we are becoming empty nesters, and we're trying to, redefine who we are and re-understand what the new marriage looks like without running children around to and from. And it's just getting tough. So I will say, you can never really start over, because I am tainted by all of the things that I saw, good or bad, and you cannot take that away. And same for my husband. He knows me and my authentic, raw self. Sometimes that's good, sometimes not so much. And he can't ever unsee that. He can never unsee me, and my tongue that may have not always been the godliest tongue. If I said some things or did some things that were not quite like I would have wanted to present, I cannot take that away, right? But what I can do is I can't start over. We cannot start over in our marriage, but we can start again. We can make a commitment. Going back to those 3 things that I talked about earlier, about if your marriage is worth the fight, we can say, yes, we have the willingness to start over. We have the fight and the resolve in us to get through some tough times. Yes, in fact, we do have the core, the foundation. I still do see this authentic person that I met and I married. I do still see that heart for God. I do still see the heart for the community. I do still see the heart for our children. Yes, all people fall short and will not show up like they should every day. Me and my spouse included. You and your spouse included will not show up like you should show up in your wonderful self every day. But at the core, I can look at you and say, but you are still so loving, so caring, so nurturing. You still have a heart to be amazing. You still have, all of the core foundational values that I chose you for. And that's still there. And I still see that authentic person. And I love that person. And I'm going to fight or start again with that person, and wipe this other stuff, clean for the most part. And then once you do that, you got to be willing to let it go, right? You got to be willing to say, not going to keep bringing it up. If I agree to stay and be in this and start again, I'm not going to keep bringing this to the table, right? And then and the other thing again about starting again, not starting over, but starting again, is again the third thing that I mentioned in the first answer, which was having a strong support system, having a network. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. It could just be one other person who knows you and your spouse and your raw, authentic, transparent self, and who loves both of you equally and wants to see the marriage. They're rooting for not you as an individual or your spouse as an individual. They're rooting for the marriage. It could just be that one person. Now, it's great to have multiple areas. It's great to have. I like how the Laytons say you have the coach, the counselor, and the comforter. They have that three-prong approach. It's great to have that because that's the Christian, the foundation is the comforter, and then the coach, and then the counselor or a therapist. So I like having a support system that is multifaceted, but if you only have one person as your support system, then that is enough to start again and to be able to fight for your marriage and your relationship. So I didn't cover a lot of the topics from chapter 1. I did cover the Canvas exercise, which I think is so very critical to everything else, because I often go back to that exercise in every other point of the book to say, I don't care what your spouse did. We're not talking about what they did or what they won't do or what they can do. We're talking about who you want to become. Banika, for me, who is the wife that I want for my boys? Because that's who my Canvas exercise looks like. That's my masterpiece that I created, was that beautiful wife that I want for them. So that is who I often have to become. And it doesn't matter what my husband did or how he shows up. I am still focused on the masterpiece that I'm becoming. Has nothing to do with what he does or how he shows up from day to day. I'm still focused on me becoming the masterpiece. And I often point that out in the book, because people will say, well, he didn't do this and she didn't do this, and I don't care what they did. I care about your masterpiece, because that's always has to be the focus. Okay. So I think that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about tonight. We are really at our time at 23 after. So I am going to end it here, but I do want to remind you guys to come back next week for Marriage Business Monday. I was a little, like, I don't know if we should do Marriage Business Monday during the summer, because people are on vacation and they're out and blah, blah, blah. But you know how we always do. We postpone things and we put off what we, can do today for tomorrow. And I was not doing that. I said, I don't even care if a couple people show up to Marriage Business Mondays. I'm gonna have Marriage Business Mondays, even in the summer, even with my 2 or 3 people, because if one person walks away tonight with hope for their relationship, then hey, I've done my job. Okay. If I gave one person hope, like, okay, we can't start over, we can start again. Or you know what? I think my relationship is worth the fight, even though today, this week, this month has been a tough month. Then I've done my job, and I don't care if that's just one person that can say amen to that. Okay. Then I've done my job. So make sure you guys tune in next Monday, Marriage Business Monday. We're gonna have Letitia and Marceau from Love and Marriage Huntsville. It's gonna be super good, y'all. It's super good. So you gotta make sure you join us next week. We had to postpone it because they had some things going on, which you guys probably know about. So let's support them, let's pray for them, and let's make sure you guys tune in next week on Monday at 7 p.m. Same station right here, YouTube, The Business with B. And hey guys, make sure you guys sign up for the newsletter, because you can get your 10% off of Wondery Wine, and we're going to have some merch. So y'all see my shirt dropping, Queen, Boss, Dope Ass Chick. And we got hashtag Queen things. So if you guys, for all the queens in your lives, they need to have these shirts. Okay. So make sure you guys sign up for the newsletter so you guys can get a discount on the Wondery Wine. And so you can be first to pick up the shirts, the Queen, Boss, Dope Ass Chick, and the hashtag Queen things t-shirts. And just know, guys, that I'm so blessed by this community that we have. I am so thankful for you guys. You guys pour into me. I hope you guys feel like I try to pour into you guys, because my heart is that I just want to see you guys out here winning. We need each other. It's so much going on right now in our country. Right now, we're going to need each other. We're going to have greater impact. And so this community is all about that. So I just want you guys to know I love you guys so very much. Thank you so much, Queens and my friends, for joining tonight. I appreciate you. If your friends missed the live, make sure you send them the recording so they can get this. If there was any nuggets that you felt like, okay, that was a good word. Okay, starting again. Maybe can't start over, starting again. You will see that. Make sure you share it and go to YouTube, click on the notification so you can know when everything is coming live. And again, thank you guys so very much. Have a good night. Bye, guys.